Welcome back to the podcast. As always, we appreciate you for joining us. This is episode 45 of Escambia Empires, where we shine the light on local business owners and entrepreneurs and get to know local up-and-comers in the Pensacola area. I'm your host, Michael Warner, and as always, I am joined by my brother and co-host, Danny.
Right here.
What's up, man? How you doing?
Pretty good, man. Hard to believe it's already 45.
Yeah, I can't. Episode 45. We're almost to 50 episodes now.
It's been almost a year of recording.
It has been almost a year. We've been here a long time.
Long time.
So it's exciting to be getting up into those numbers. So we're halfway to triple digits, which that's going to be crazy.
Yeah. Well, we'll get there when we get there.
Yep, 100%. Before we get into the actual content of this episode, just a couple of housekeeping things. First of all, go check us out on Instagram. Shout out to Joanne. She has figured out a way to, I say she's figured out, makes it sound like we're a bunch of dummies, but she's figured out a way to cut the frame into a good size for Instagram Reels. Mm-hmm. So that's what we're posting primarily right now. We're cutting up the content from the episodes into bite-sized little videos, and we're putting it on Instagram as the Reels. And actually, all of our Reels that we posted have done fairly well. So good job to you, Jojo, for doing that. And if you are watching us on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe. I hate saying that. You know what? I'm never going to say that again. I'm sorry for pitching this time around. But no, the bottom line is if you leave a review for the podcast and if you see an episode that you like, share it. That's the best way to help us grow. Definitely. So I just wanted to put that plug in there. Our guest today graduated cum laude with a Doctor of Law degree from the University of Florida and is now a partner at the Carver Darden Law Firm, specializing in the areas of real estate, general commercial litigation, and bankruptcy. He is also the newly former president. He just stepped down. I think he said last month they just had the new president come in, of the Young Lawyers Division as well. So we are excited to welcome Travis Morock to the show. You got any comments before we jump into the episode, Dan?
No, I think the episode is really concise and really clean. I think you're really going to enjoy it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he gives some really good insight from his perspective as a lawyer here in Pensacola.
Yep, beautiful. And it's fun. We were just kind of playing around with some different questions this time. And
he was very patient.
He was very, very patient with us. So thank you, Travis, if you're watching this on YouTube. Thank you for putting up with us, and it was really fun to have you on the show. So here's the interview with Travis Morock for episode 45. Travis, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I'm excited about this. It's going to be a good show. We met just a couple weeks ago at a networking event, and then I was like, man, Travis would be a good guy to get on the podcast. So appreciate you being down, and also for working with us on formatting and different things. I know we're kind of getting into a new flow as far as the show is concerned. So appreciate you being the guinea pig.
Being patient.
Absolutely.
So for those who don't know you, obviously, we're going to have recorded an intro before this goes on, so they'll be familiar. But go ahead and just rewind the clocks and take a minute and tell us your story, how you got to where you are now, kind of your role within Carver Darden, and then we'll go off from there.
Sure. Well, my full name is Travis Morock. I'm a partner at the Carver Darden Law Firm here in Pensacola. Our firm is it's based out of New Orleans. We have about 30 attorneys in New Orleans and 10 practicing attorneys over here in Pensacola. It's a full-service law firm, so we engage in commercial litigation, oil and gas, energy law, real estate, bankruptcy, and a wide variety of practice areas to provide for our clients. I started with Carver Darden actually when I was in law school. When I was attending University of Florida for law school, I clerked up here in Pensacola at the Carver Darden's office during my second year. Fell in love with the area and decided to move up here after I graduated law school. Started with Carver Darden back in 2015 as an associate, and worked my way up to partner, where I'm still currently practicing at.
It's exciting.
Awesome.
I feel like that's just the dream. That's the projection that everybody wants to, the trajectory that everybody wants to do, man.
That's what they tell us in law school, at least, yeah.
Keep it up, you can make partner.
Yeah.
So, I mean, not to get too deep into it in the very beginning, but you say that's what they tell you. I mean, is that obviously that's what you were going for, and that's a huge, huge goal. Is it everything you were hoping it was?
Yes. Yeah. I think there's a little bit more to achieve, but yeah,
fair enough.
Absolutely.
Okay. We can get into that later down the road, because I am curious for you personally, with all the different things that you're involved in, kind of what your path will be, where you want to go from here. But let me ask you this: Why did you choose to go to law school? Was it just something that was kind of a passion for you, or something you were good at?
It was kind of a passion, and it was also because medical school was ruled out as soon as I saw the sight of blood. Did not work out. So I did fall in love with the idea of going to law school in the sense that you're able to help somebody. In the real estate transactional world, it's kind of that mutual gain where you're bringing two parties together, and both parties are benefiting. One person wants to sell, one person wants to buy, and you're facilitating the transaction. So I enjoy that part of it, but I also enjoy the other part of practicing law, which is the litigation, which I'm an avid sports fan, so I like to win. And so that's kind of where I get that little fulfillment.
Good. You want a lawyer that really wants to win. That's very, very competitive.
So, so I enjoy both parts of practicing law at Carver Darden, and that kind of was why I decided to go to law school. Was I enjoyed the litigation, but I also wanted to help people, so it kind of goes hand in hand.
Okay,
perfect.
So obviously, there's a bunch of different areas where you guys practice and provide those services. Is it kind of that you can pick where you'd be best suited, or do you kind of have to start off and just bide your time in one area or another before you move up in the ranks? Or
it's a little bit of both. It's partly filling the void. When you come on board, is what's the specific need, or where they're lacking attorneys at.
Sure.
After time, you kind of create your own little niche or pocket that you kind of specialize in. In particular, I've kind of created a little niche in the bankruptcy world. So it's a little bit of both, but over time, you kind of focus in. Yeah, you kind of focus in on one specific or a couple specific areas.
Okay,
good deal.
So having said that, I mean, you're doing real estate now. You said between real estate and litigation. I think when we talked, you're doing mostly real estate now, right?
I'm mostly doing real estate right now. A lot of it on the transactional side.
Okay.
Also doing some of the litigation side for title disputes, if there's boundary disputes, HOAs, or just kind of that kind of general litigation. Okay. But certainly we all know that the real estate market's booming in Northwest Florida. So
keep it busy.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Well, having said that, then I got a couple questions, but this seems like a good direction to go. With being as busy as we are, you're doing real estate, doing closings and things like that. Obviously, there's a lot of title companies and attorneys who do closings here. And maybe this is outside the scope of kind of what you do, but how do you guys set yourselves apart and kind of get that market share of people to come to you for closings when there's a lot of other competition out there? It's the same thing as it is for realtors or lenders. Sure. There's a lot of places they could go.
Sure. So in general, anytime you buy and sell property, especially if there's a lender involved, title insurance will be a requirement. In the state of Florida, law firms can act as the title agent, and then also individuals without a JD or that didn't go to law school can also act as a title agent through the title company. In that sense, title companies and attorneys' offices are providing the same service. They're issuing a title insurance policy. If it's for the buyer, it's an owner's title insurance policy. For a lender's title insurance policy. I think what differentiates us a little bit is that we're a full-service law firm in the sense that we also do, if there's litigation issues, there's contractual issues, if there's there's a probate issue, the properties in probate, those type of legal issues, a title company couldn't necessarily handle. You'd have to engage outside counsel.
Interesting.
And with our firm being full service, we can kind of provide those. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
Definitely adds to the convenience and just kind of that security of mindset, knowing that you can take on any problem that arises in the transaction.
Yeah, and there is a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In any transaction, there's something that's going to happen, Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I know that's super, super general. Also a general question that I have written down. I like to ask people something not necessarily negative about the industry, but what are some things that you didn't realize before getting into, being a practicing attorney or even just real estate in general or at Carver Darden? Some things you didn't understand.
Wow. Where to start?
There's a lot of stories rolling around in that head.
Honestly, it's probably the time involved. It's very long hours practicing law. And you'll probably hear that from most attorneys you talk to.
Yeah.
Especially in today's world where there's emails. My understanding is when I talk to older attorneys, you'd receive a letter from opposing counsel. You let it sit a couple days. You send a letter. It goes in the mail. Nowadays,
it's in leisure.
Yep. Yeah. Nowadays, someone emails you at 10 o'clock. They want a response by 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
So it's a blessing and a curse, the technology that we have. It allows us to work remote, allows us to work on the go.
Yeah.
But at the same token, everyone wants to be readily available. They want you to go ahead and provide a quick response.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's it's just not the appropriate response.
Yeah, interesting. Definitely, I think it's the same thing on the real estate side as well. I mean, contracts used to be like 1 page long. And now the FAR contract that we have is 13 pages long. I was just trying to explain it to an agent who's starting with us, and I was taking him through the contract, and I was like, this is so long. There's so much
Lots
in there.
of details.
Yeah. And now with things like DocuSign, you can have people sign documents right from their email and things, and you don't have to drive to them and get things signed personally, which is really nice, but it also adds a layer of urgency to everything that's done. Yeah. So that's super interesting. Branching off of that, now this is something that we ask a lot of business owners, but I think it does apply to you as well. Do you feel like, and I don't want to step on your toes at all, but
sure,
are there any mistakes you feel like you made in the beginning? Obviously, there are different. Everybody looking back says, "I would have done this differently." Is there anything like that for you that you feel like maybe this could have fast tracked progress, or what would the answer to that be?
I probably would have started networking immediately out of the gate. I kind of the focus was trying to learn to take in as much as possible, gain the knowledge to actually perform the work, provide the services. But I kind of wish I would have started, especially being new to the area. I did, go out and try to do a little bit of networking, but I wish I would have been more engaged with the younger, particularly the younger professionals in the area. From the onset.
Interesting. Yeah, those connections are hugely, hugely important, and that's something that we've tried to get into more recently. Is it's easy to have the events come and go, and it's like, oh, I'm busy this evening. But once you go and you leave, it's like, man, I met 10 new people tonight. That now, if I see them around, I can say hi. And that's how connections like this come.
A lot of potential value that you're just missing out on if you don't get 100%. In it.
Yeah, those connections, especially in the real estate industry and in law as well. I'm sure those connections are huge.
Knowing people.
So where do you go now to do your networking?
We met at a young lawyers division happy hour, which, that was a big concern, was partnering with other organizations, which in that particular networking event, it was partnered with PAR, the Pensacola Area Realtors, Young Professional Network. Honestly, I try to engage in as many different types of organizations, whether it's the Home Builders Association, Northwest Florida, a wide variety of different organizations to try to get a different pool on
different
professionals.
People are going to be in each.
That's correct. Yeah, and there's sometimes a little bit of overlap, but generally speaking, if you're dealing with contractors on one side, you're dealing with realtors on another one. It's very important to engage in different organizations' networking events to get those different pools.
Get a variety.
Yeah. So that's the reason then the networking is why you got into the Young Lawyers Division and some of the other boards that you're on now.
Part of it was, and so most of the Young Lawyers Division, in addition to partnering with third parties or other organizations, it was also an opportunity to meet my colleagues.
Yeah, that's true too.
And so, it's actually been very beneficial, not only from a networking standpoint. For example, I have colleagues that might practice criminal law. They don't do real estate. So, but they know me, we're friends. They say, hey, my buddy Travis, he's also an attorney and he does real estate. You should give him a call.
Sure.
Okay, yeah.
And you're 3 offices down.
Yeah. So it helps with, it helped with from the networking standpoint, but it also helped just from the social, venting, growing together. It's people going through the same growing pains as you. We're all venting about long hours.
Yeah. You're suffering together.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We all enjoy a cocktail in misery, I guess, at the happy hour event.
100%.
So,
it was fun to go to that event where we met you at with the Young Professional Network at PAR and then the Young Lawyers Division. I feel like it's cool, like you said, to have. I'm a member of YPN, and I have been ever since I started, kind of for that same reason. They do some professional development, but really it's just about who are the people that are doing transactions in Pensacola, who are the other young realtors, and who is doing the same thing as I am. Young professionals in the industry, and those are good people to know. And then it's cool to take that group and go mix in with another group of lawyers and have everybody kind of get to know each other.
Yeah.
I think that's cool. And I think that's something my broker recommended to me whenever I first started, is get involved in some of the committees that are at the board or whatever that govern your industry. And I think that's super helpful. I think that's something that I would definitely recommend to anybody getting started.
Kind of get that variety that you were talking about earlier, just seeing different points of view and different perspectives on it from other professionals.
Yeah, exactly. So then, I mean, getting involved in it, is there any particular reason you went for leadership? Just wanted the status.
I wanted to be a little bit right. That's the that's everyone's reason.
I was hoping you would laugh at that. I was like, no, that was a joke. But.
No, I really wanted to get more involved, and a way to be more involved was to go after a leadership position.
Yeah.
And also in the leadership position, the other aspect is obviously the charitable aspect, is that we partner with charitable organizations. So usually most of the networking or happy hour events they're for a charitable cause.
Mm-hmm.
And so being able to work with other charities was also a passion of mine. And so I was kind of able to do a little bit of both, be involved with Wild D, but also be involved with some of the charitable organizations in the area.
Okay.
So just open up some more opportunities by being in leadership, or just...
Yeah, it opened up some more opportunities for leadership. And it gives you somewhat of a name recognition with some of the other attorneys in town and the judges and whatnot when you're going 100%. To events.
Yeah.
And so we obviously we had the opportunity to we do a summation quarterly. It's a magazine that gets distributed to the attorneys in the area. And as part of that, the Wild D president gets a 1-page article each time. And it allows people that you might not see on a daily or even a monthly basis to see your picture, see what you're doing, see what you're about.
Yeah.
And it allows kind of like a larger base.
See, I love things like that. Like, and that's why it's cool to be involved in the different committees and things like that. Like you said, it not only gets you meeting people that you wouldn't have been exposed to otherwise, but it provides opportunities that you would never get otherwise as well. Like an article that, other attorneys will read. That's something I love, strategizing things like that. Like, how can I get in front of more people? How can, you're here obviously in this industry to stay. Yeah. So how can we get more people to know who I am? I think that's something, like you said, the networking is something you wish you would have done since the beginning. Yeah. I think there's a lot of things like that people just don't really think about. They get involved in the day-to-day of, doing transactions, but they forget about the fact that you're a brand. You have to build your brand just as much as you do your business. So that's super cool. Now you've mentioned that the networking, going back, that's something that you would change since the beginning. Is there anything you feel like is a big barrier to entry to anybody looking to start out as an attorney, in the industry? Any barriers to entry? Besides the long hours and networking. So.
Yeah. I'd say probably the law school tuition.
Fair enough.
Student loans is definitely a barrier in particular. I think it's a barrier for attorneys that want to practice in Northwest Florida. And I think that's part of a larger issue, but I do think that the student loans prevent a lot of attorneys from relocating to Pensacola. The student loans prevent attorneys from relocating to Pensacola.
What would the reason for that be?
You graduate burdened with a high amount of student loans,
so you have to make enough money to.
And Pensacola as a whole, I'd say, the salaries are not going to be what they are in Tampa, Miami, Orlando. So you're kind of forcing students graduating with those high debts to go to those higher paying job locations. Yeah. So Pensacola is missing out. I think a lot of good attorneys, graduating law school.
They can't afford to come here.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
What do you think the solution to that would be, other than trying to just lower tuition?
Yeah, and it like I said, I think it's probably a larger issue. Probably somebody in Congress. Someone a little bit above my pay grade needs to
understood,
resolve that. But I do think I talked to a lot of people, and in particular people that they grew up in Pensacola, and I see them when they're back here on vacation or whatnot. I say, why don't you come back? And they're like, I have a great job in Atlanta that's paying 2-3 times what I would be making here.
Wow.
So it's not.
What's the attraction?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's kind of hard to justify.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you can only say like we have really white beaches so often. That doesn't pay the bills. So and I love this area, I really do, and I feel like the cost of living is really low, but also in turn you're not going to make as much here as you could make other places. So
yeah, no, like I said, I'm not from Pensacola, but I fell in love with the area.
Yeah,
and I think it still has a generally low cost of living.
Yeah,
and it does compared to larger cities.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so cool. Moving on from that then, as partner, we like to talk a little bit about time management with pretty much everybody. Just everybody has different insights, and maybe, things that we don't know, and I was going to say vice versa. That's a little, we know a lot that you may not know too. So, give us some insight into what your days typically look like at the moment. And then I want to talk about some more broad time management concepts potentially.
Sure. The day-to-day, there's obviously plenty of phone calls and emails from clients, realtors. There's a fair amount still litigation, the hearings. We no longer have to travel to court. So we put on our Sunday best for the Zoom hearing. Yeah, that are all in the office, and our particular office has got the glass doors and everything like that.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
nice.
Glass walls.
Yeah, you took me on a tour. It's nice. That's a sharp office.
So I think the judges see everybody who walks by, and it's like you go by and you're like, oh, yeah, they're having a hearing today.
Yep, you can see that they're dressed up.
But the day-to-day, it's mostly handling the emails and phone calls from clients. Obviously, if you have closings or if you have hearings, handling those. It just really depends what's on the calendar for that day. But it's usually pretty busy.
Yeah. Yeah, I know every day is different.
Yeah.
You can't really plan
No.
too much. Interesting. Well, and I guess coming back to what we were talking about earlier, I'm curious to hear from you. Obviously everybody has directions that they're looking to go.
Sure.
What is kind of your plan, at least what you're comfortable sharing? Where are you hoping to go from here? What's your trajectory looking like?
I'd like to continue to progress with Carver Darden, continue to build up client base, progress and develop as an attorney. I'm a firm believer that it doesn't matter how many years you've been practicing, you can always learn something new.
Yeah.
And
especially in an industry like that.
Technology changes, laws change all the time. So you have to keep on your toes. I'm constantly trying to read new developments, new case law that comes out. And if I think it's relevant, I like to, send it on to the client, say, hey, you might find, they're changing the statute on this. This might impact you. If you have any questions, feel free to give me a call.
Yeah.
So like I said, I'm a firm believer that you can always progress. You can always develop.
Understood.
That's honestly a really good answer.
Yeah.
And especially coming from, like, if someone were to listen to this episode, they would know that what they're getting with you is somebody that's constantly improving, constantly growing, and that wants to give them the best service that they can get by staying up to date with those things.
And
that's
also
really
sticking around too.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people who kind of flutter around and move from place to place, always looking for the next best thing rather than just sticking and making it happen, doing things where they're at. So
that's a good answer.
Yeah, that's cool, man. So any final advice for maybe newcomers to the industry, or some of the lessons that you've learned about the industry? Final advice for maybe your younger self or younger people starting out?
I would just say stick with it. It gets better. The first couple of years, you're going to be learning a lot. You're going to be loaded with plenty of work from your superiors. It'll get better. You'll learn how to handle it. You will de-stress. You won't be as stressed out. And there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. I love that, because most people that have been in it for a few years, no matter what industry it is, it's like, man, it's just going to get worse from here. Just hang on to your seats, but that was good advice.
Yeah, it's hard to stay in it for the long haul.
Yeah.
It's hard to show up every day and do what needs done. It's easy to kind of lose that drive or that motivation you had in the beginning. So do you personally have any role models?
Wow.
I know it's firing off a deep one there.
Yeah. Personally or professionally?
Honestly, either or. Yeah,
because I would say
kind of amazing.
I have some personal people who have influenced my professional life.
So I'd say personally, I'd probably say my mom. She's always provided for me and my family. She's always worked long hours. She's made sacrifices to be where I'm at here today. So I'd say on a personal level, I would certainly say my mom.
Said a really good
You got to say that
example.
because she's listening to this probably.
Yeah, I know.
No, that's really, I love when people are close with their family and,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
look up to their parents. That's such a healthy thing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So we'll jump into the rapid fire questions, the last 5 questions that we ask everybody.
Okay.
First of all, what is your favorite, we have business book, but you can do just any book in general.
Okay.
And why? One favorite.
If I was going to say business book, I'd say Getting to Yes. I know that's like a cliche, like everyone reads that in college and stuff, but I think it's applicable both in your business and social life, and it's kind of got some general principles that I think go a long way.
No, I don't think I've read that one.
Yeah.
Getting to Yes.
Yeah. You
Do you know who
read
the
it?
author is?
I feel like I've seen that title before, actually. That does ring a bell, but I haven't read it yet.
I have a
And
copy.
now
I'll
it
give
gives
you
me
a
a reason.
copy.
Yeah, would love it. Good deal. That'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it like for sales or?
It's so I read it in undergrad for business, and I think it was reading it for law school as well. And it's kind of just how to socialize, negotiate, and conversate with people, both like in a professional and a social aspect. So.
I love
Interesting.
that. I'm
Yeah.
always looking for good books like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Favorite restaurant in Pensacola?
So that's a hard question because we are blessed with plenty of great restaurants in
yes, we have
Pensacola.
a lot of good ones.
I'd say my favorite is Iron.
Okay. Oh man.
That's good. That's one of my top 5.
Yep.
Yeah, love that place.
Just because, oh man, it's so good. It's so expensive, but it's
Yeah, it's so worth
I've
it.
only been there one time, and I had a steak, and it was the best steak I've ever had. But I was like, I can't be coming here that often. That's cool. They have really, really good service too. We were there for a bachelor party, and I think they gave us. I don't want to put them on blast, but they gave us a lot of stuff for free.
Yeah.
They were
wow.
like, hey, congratulations on the
Yeah.
wedding and
Yeah.
stuff, like a bunch of free apps and stuff. So.
Yeah, not to set expectations for other bachelor
Yeah,
parties.
yeah.
It's like,
Hey,
they
we'll
really
go there for
treated
the
us
bachelor
right.
party.
Yeah.
Now, what is the most useful app that you have on your phone?
Probably Google Maps for me. I'm traveling a lot, and I'm always plugging it in.
Yeah. Same here.
I
going to
know-
places,
I know
random
that-
houses all the time.
Yeah, I know that sounds kind of silly, but
No.
Ours, I think he said scannable, so you can scan
Yeah.
papers into PDFs.
Yeah.
I
like-
just used that today.
Really?
So yeah,
Yeah.
I was
It's
at my
really
house.
nice.
Yeah, and the client's like, I need this.
Oh yeah.
So I
Man,
and
that's
it scanned it,
saved
and it
me in
works.
so
Yeah.
many pinches,
Yep.
man.
Yeah.
Yep. So we like the nerdy. Mine is like Mile IQ, so I can log all my miles.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
we like nerdy apps like that.
Yeah.
What is an accomplishment that you are most proud of, either personally or in your business life?
So again, it sounds probably pretty cliche, but graduating law school.
Yeah. Huge deal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. My parents, my mom only has an associate's degree, so obviously I graduated undergrad and then progressed to law school. So that's probably my best accomplishment, I'd say.
Very cool. I love that. And then where can people find and connect with you if they want to reach out and get to know you better?
Sure. You can, on my firm website, it has my email, my direct phone line. I'm also on LinkedIn.
Cool.
Probably the best two places to reach
Good
out.
deal.
Perfect, okay.
All right.
I
We'll
saw
link
you're
them both
active
in
on
the
LinkedIn,
description.
so.
Yeah.
Honestly, Travis, I appreciate you coming on the show. I know, like I said, I appreciate you being the guinea pig, kind of working on some of these formatting things here. And I apologize for sticking you with some questions that you maybe weren't expecting. But no, we really appreciate you coming on. And I feel like you are really the type of person that we started the podcast to get to know. It's just young people who are working hard and on their way up in Pensacola. So
That's right.
we appreciate you joining us for the show, man.
Yeah, thanks for the invite, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.